Hi everyone. Okay, let's continue with the Iroquois clans. Okay, so what do we know about the Iroquois clans? Well, the peacemaker created the clans. Okay, and remember, clans are groups of people that are descendant from the same family line. The clan system united the nations and ensured peace among them because they were considered to be family no matter where or what nation they were in. So, if you were part of a clan and you moved from where you were to another nation, so you moved from Seneca to the Mohawk Nation, then you were still part of that clan. You were still part of that family. It did not matter where you lived. Once you were part of that clan, that was the clan that you kind of stayed in. Clan members didn't marry each other. So if you were in a clan, you weren't allowed to marry within your clan. You had to go outside to a different clan in order to find someone to marry. Which kind of makes sense because you don't want to marry your brother or your sister. Gross. All the clan members, they lived together in the same space. So they all lived in a long house. That long house we're going to get into a little bit more tomorrow. The Iroquois were matrilineal. So this is kind of a hard idea to understand. Matrilineal is a way that we look at our descendants. So in Canada, in a lot of places, and in a lot of cultures, the father comes to be the most important person of the family. The grandfather is the most important person. When he has children, they take his last name. When those children have children, they take the name of the father, right? Well, that wasn't the case for the Iroquois. The Iroquois it surrounded all around the mother. So every person was identified into a clan because of who their grandmother or mother was. And that played a big part in how clans were made, because the clans would be made depending on their female ancestor. So if I shared the same female ancestor as Miss Vong, then we would be in the same clan. But if I had a different female ancestor than Miss Vong, that makes us in different clans. Okay? But because it's a matrilineal society, because that's the way that the Iroquois were, the women of the Iroquois had a lot of power within their society, which we're going to talk about a little bit more. The husbands, instead of the wives moving in with the husbands would move into the wives' longhouse. So this is a lot different than Athenian way of life or ancient Greek way of life, whereas in ancient Greece, the men had all of the power and women had no power, whereas in this confederacy among these people, women were equal. In fact, some women even held a higher status than men. When a child was born, he or she became part of the mother's clan. So one important thing that you should know about the clan mothers is that they were the head of the clan. In the past, a clan mother was usually the oldest woman of the clan. Today, clan mothers are chosen for their cultural wisdom and their dedication to the Haudenosaunee people. Clan mothers were and always have a huge honor, and they had a huge duty within their society. We already know that they are descendants on a matrilineal line, and the children would belong to their mother's clan. One really interesting thing, though, is when the Great Law of Peace was made and families were put into different clans, they were named after different animals and birds. So as you can see here, clans are identified by animals. So a Mohawk of the Turtle Clan is relative to a Seneca Turtle Clan. So that's like I was talking about. If you were part of the Turtle Clan, you could live anywhere and still be part of that clan. So you could be living in the Mohawk territory and part of the Turtle Clan, just like you could be living in the Seneca land and be part of the Turtle Clan. And it wasn't just turtles, there was beavers and bears and ravens and all different types of animals that you find in northern Ontario and southern Ontario. As we know, all family members lived within the longhouse, which is just down here. This is a picture of a longhouse. Though men moved into their wives' homes, they did not change their clan. So if you get married, you have to marry outside of your clan, outside of your turtle clan, your bear clan. The man would still remain part of the clan that he left. Okay? And that is something that's really interesting about Iroquois society, is that it really developed this idea of weaving the clans together. Everybody becoming not family, but everybody becoming one, right? And here is a visual of how many different there was the wolf, bear, turtle, snipe, deer, beaver, Huron, hawk, and eel clan, and each clan lived throughout the Confederacy territories. So you can see the Seneca had many different clans living within that area. The Onondaga had many different clans living within that area, and the Mohawk not as many. But they did share clans throughout the different nations, right? And all of these people, no matter where they were, in the Seneca territory, in the Onondaga, they were all considered family or relatives. So it didn't matter if you left Seneca to go to the Mohawk, you would still be part of the Wolf clan. What language do they speak? Well, there are 6 different languages spoken by the First Nations people, or the Iroquois people, right? And so it really didn't matter where you were, you would speak the language of you would speak the language of where you were. Now, some Iroquois people could speak more than one of these languages. In particular, most important, Iroquois men usually learned the Mohawk language, which became kind of the language that they would use at the Great Council and at religious festivals. It kind of became the universal language. So just like now in our modern world, English is actually kind of our universal global language. So you can go to many different countries and people will know English. It was just like that. Whereas if you were from Onondaga, you would most likely want to know Mohawk if you were going to be part of the government system. Most Iroquois people speak English today, but some people, especially elders, still speak the native language of their own tribe. Here is a comparative chart to the Iroquois word, a website where you can hear Iroquois word being spoken, a Mohawk picture glossary. So this is kind of the Mohawk language that you can kind of see. And it has developed through time. What was Iroquois food like in the days before supermarkets? Well, the Iroquois, the Haudenosaunee, were farming people, so they would plant crops of corn, beans, squash, and they'd harvest wild berries and herbs. And that was mostly done by the women. The men, however, would go and they would do the hunting and the shooting of the deer and elk, and they do the fishings in the river. Now remember, where the Iroquois Confederacy was, the land is much different than than Alberta. And so these people didn't live on these big, huge plains. They lived in kind of forested areas, and they had different trees. They had different animals almost, different rivers than we do, and it was also a very kind of lush area, so it made farming very easy. One of the most famous dishes that comes out of the Haudenosaunee people is called the Three Sisters, which is a combination of corns and beans and squash that was named after the Three Sisters. That is one of the most popular dishes of the Iroquois people. So head to your assignment, complete it. I've posted this part of the slideshow on to a document that you can refer back to in order to complete the assignment. I know that this has been more of a listening day, and thanks so much for paying attention, and we'll talk to you soon.